Knox County 911, where is your emergency?
This is a story that begins at the end.
Got daughter in the bathtub with her head under the water.
The end of a life.
You breathing?
And the beginning of a search for who supplied the heroin that killed Jessica Lyday.
I've already got them in route. They've already been dispatched.
As a mother, your world is never going to be the same.
It was a Friday morning, the day before Independence Day in 2015, when investigators arrived at the Lydays' West Hills home to begin piecing together the puzzle that would lead them to the dealer who supplied her.
When someone overdoses and dies in our community, we want to know where they got those drugs. And the way that people communicate in this day and age is with their cell phone.
Among the evidence confiscated from the home that morning, Jessica's cell phone.
That cell phone is a very valuable tool in finding out who our deceased victim was talking to prior to their death, and most likely that's going to be the person who supplied them with their drugs.
To find out where the drugs came from, we begin 14 hours before Jessica was found unconscious in the bathtub. The final messages investigators found on Jessica's cell phone document a search for the drugs that would eventually take her life. "I got $100 to celebrate July 4th, she wrote. "I want to get this done."
The last source of information or the last person that had contact with them is always going to be one of the best sources of information.
Jessica had battled addiction for years, but seemed to be on the right track to recovery. She completed a 30-day residential treatment program and was scheduled to be admitted to a long-term treatment center in the coming weeks.
I smile every day.
She wrote notes in her journal just months before she passed.
I try to make someone else laugh or smile every day.
Years after they were written, her mother read them to us. Still mourning the loss of her only daughter, she asked us not to show her face.
I have a long way to go as far as making things right with myself and with others. But I know I'm on the right path.
Around 9 p.m. on July 2nd, Jessica sets up a meeting inside the Walgreens near Westtown Mall.
Miss Lyday had met with an individual the night before named Justin Lee, and had most likely obtained heroin from him.
Philip Jintz investigated this case for the Knoxville Police Department. The department asked us to conceal his identity because of a case he is currently working on.
Justin met her there. She gave him the money that she had acquired to purchase heroin.
Jessica and Justin had previously dated. They had known each other for years. But was he responsible for her death?
From the original cell phone of Jessica's, we were only able to identify Justin Lee.
Police didn't stop their search when they found him. Investigators had their eye on someone else.
Jessica Lyday was a human being. She was a person. She deserved a thorough investigation. She deserved to have some justice.
This is the final text message that Justin Lee sent to Jessica Lyday the morning after he provided the heroin that killed her. Text messages and other clues found in cell phones led investigators to someone even higher up the chain who shared responsibility for her death. It took Engine 20 from the Knoxville Fire Department less than 5 minutes to respond when the call came in.
When somebody has stopped breathing, they have a limited amount of time before they start losing cells.
J.P. Plant and Doug Gwaltney were the first to arrive at Jessica Lyday's West Hills home that summer morning in 2015.
When you are responding and you walk into somebody's house, you're thinking of all of the steps you need to take to save this person's life.
On this day, there was nothing they could do.
It was pretty evident that Miss Lyday had most likely died from a drug overdose.
Jessica's cell phone showed she had bought the heroin from her ex-boyfriend, Justin Lee. Investigator Philip Jintz with the Knoxville Police Department knew that wasn't the full story. KPD asked us to conceal Jintz's identity because of a case he is currently working on.
After I interviewed Justin at his home, I took possession of his phone, and while I was in possession of his phone, the phone received a text message from a contact named Slim.
As Jessica and Justin met at the Walgreens to hand off money the night she overdosed, Justin set up a meeting with a contact named Slim.
After receiving the text message from Jessica that she had come into some money and was looking to purchase heroin, Justin immediately contacted Slim.
Lee agreed to help police buy more drugs from Slim. Jintz recorded the call.
Hello? Hey, I have my mom's put in the mailbox, okay? I'm about to have to go to the hospital, so whenever you come by, whatever, just call my phone, whatever, and let it ring once or something. And then
Slim delivered more heroin to Justin Lee's mailbox. This time, KPD was waiting.
There was a short foot pursuit, and he was taken into custody.
Inside Slim's home, they found $40,000 worth of cash, a firearm, and more of the drugs that killed Jessica Lyday. Everything lying right next to children's toys.
One of the children indicated that there was a handgun hidden between the mattress and box springs.
So who was Slim?
We learned that the source of the heroin was a gentleman by the name of Kenyon Demario Reynolds. He was actually living under an alias in Knoxville. He was wanted from another state.
Reynolds came from Atlanta. He brought his drugs with him.
We're only 3.5 hours north of Atlanta. Atlanta is a major drug hub for this part of the country.
Reynolds is now behind bars at the Northwest Correctional Complex in Tiptonville. He'll be there for at least 3 decades. Jessica Lyday loved to sing, especially about her home in East Tennessee.
She didn't have a mean bone in her body. Big old heart.
Still mourning the loss of her only daughter, her mom holds the drawings, journal entries, and notes she left behind closer than ever. A handful of memories from a lifetime of love.
Make the time count every day that you have with that person that you love, because it's never long enough.
Jessica Lyday now rests at her family farm in Middle Tennessee. While she died, the investigation may have led to other lives being saved.
The one person that has lost their life here obtained those drugs from somewhere. If you follow those up the chain, you get into people that are making a living by distributing drugs in our community and preying upon those who are the users.
If the text messages were clues to solving her case, they're also heartbreaking reminders of just how fragile life is. Last year, investigators in Knox County used this technique of tracing an overdose to charge 11 drug dealers with murder.